All right. Well, thanks for taking time to be on the show. I'm really excited that you're just interested in being able to share your knowledge with people and your story, and just talk a little bit about how you were able to, form your own image of life and cultivate that into a reality and manifest that. And since I think it was 2008 that you had an experience with your father. I think there's something about your mother in there as well in regards to some health problems that had to do with like heart attacks and diabetes. And you realized that at that point, like, this isn't going to be my life, even though these are my parents. I'm going to change the way that my health is going to be. And you really took charge of that. So that's why I was excited to have you on the show and to be able to just share that with other people and how you were able to do that and where you got from when you were working and for other people, and then how you were able to transition into what you're doing now. So,
Oh yeah.
so again,
So much for
welcome. Oh, say that one more time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Privileged to be here. So yeah, just a little bit about myself. So yeah, back in 2008, you kind of mentioned it a little bit. My mom had a heart attack. I was in high school, so I was kind of unaware. I was unconscious. I was just doing like the whole high school thing, hanging out with my friends, just not caring too much. After all these health problems kind of came to my family, then I was like, it made me take a step back and kind of think, like, how am I going to follow in their footsteps? Am I going to change my habits to ultimately live a better, healthier life? Or am I going to just keep doing the same exact things repetitively, like eating a bad diet, fast food all the time, like just kind of feeling like crap almost. So that kind of like woke me up into like a different reality. So I started just making a change and took on my whole world. So what I did was I started becoming more active. So I got a gym membership. I started trying to look into eating cleaner, more healthy, less straying away from less of all meat, like 5-6 times a day, like I was, because you're not supposed to be eating meat 6 times a day. We're not going to go out there and hunt our own food like that. Um, we're like hunters and gatherers down to the very, like, at the bottom of everything at the end of the day. So I think that you're supposed to eat vegetables mainly, and then you'll eat meat when you get it. So I think that's how a lot of people are. So that's kind of what shaped me into who I am today.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
um,
That's
yeah. Yeah, so I grew up, just a little bit about myself, born and raised Colorado, grew up in Littleton, so I went to Chatfield. I was on the cusp of Chatfield and Columbine, and my parents didn't want me to go to Columbine, obviously, after that was like the biggest school shooting like back then. So I went to Chatfield, and all my friends went there too. So that's where I grew up. Got to backpack Europe, so that was cool. When I got back, that's when I found myself, and I kind of started doing what I love, which is personal training and helping other people live a healthier lifestyle, so they aren't following in the same footsteps as their parents or whoever's in their life that's living unhealthy. I'm just here to help.
absolutely. It's about, I was listening to, I was listening to somebody yesterday, and they talked about how the way you can have everything in life that you want if you can help other people attain what they want. And that's ultimately what you're doing. And don't you focus more on seniors, or is it the whole gamut? Is it anybody who wants to get fit?
So yeah, when I first started, it was a wide range of everybody, really. Then I got to hone my skills, and then I got to go into more of a niche, because when you're first learning, it's hard to have a niche and attract the right type of people to you and still be like, it's still my livelihood. So I still have to run a business and be profitable. So I started doing in-home personal training after working at multiple gyms, and and just seeing how it was just you're stuck in a box essentially all day. It's the same people, it's always the same stories. You have a manager on your ass at all times, and they're just pushing you. All they care about is numbers. They don't actually care about the people that you're trying to help. So that's when I branched off, started my own business, in-home personal training. As I did that, it was kind of honestly, it was whoever. It wasn't just seniors. Now that I've been in business for 2 years, this last year at the beginning of 2018, that's when I started going towards online, and then I created the first ever online senior program. So it helps with low impact on the joints. It helps stabilize. It helps balance. It helps with coordination. So everything that seniors age 55 and up need, and that they can kind of like progress themselves to like being better, stronger, healthier. So I give a lot of tips, tricks, positive affirmations. It's all video, so I kind of show them. First I tell them how to do it, then I demonstrate, and then I kind of tell them what to look out for, how to breathe properly, what not to do, because that's, you don't want to like hurt yourself trying to like do a squat, you know. So as I progressed, I was able to like just help that niche that I wanted to. But at first it was everybody. So I was like, oh, here's a 25-year-old client who wants to gain muscle. Oh, here's a 42-year-old woman who wants to lose weight. So that's where I am. I still do in-home personal training and do that for everybody, but my niche right now is senior health and wellness. So I still have all the clients that I used to have for, it's crazy. Like client retention for trainers, it's usually isn't that long, but for me, I've been lucky, and I've been able to like have the same clients for a couple of years now. And they're, at this point, I'm like a therapist. Like they
Yeah.
already got goals. I'm over here just, hey, I'm here still. And they're like, yeah, well, I love you in my life, so I'm keeping you, you know? So that's how it
Absolutely.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit about myself and what I do. So I do in-home and online and personal training. And right now I'm really focused on seniors and kind of giving them what they need, just because I don't want someone else's parents to have health problems and they don't know what to do, or there's no one there to help them. Because YouTube, Instagram, all these sources, all these resources, these people my age, I'm 27, they're over here trying to be the buffest person on Instagram. They're trying to take their selfies with like in thongs, you know, and they don't care. They don't care about other generations. So I'd rather just help people. I'll still obviously work out 3 to 5 times a week, but I'm not just so focused on like being the biggest person at the gym or anything like that. I'm focused on helping and creating new ways to help others. So
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful. And that's why I invited you onto the show, because when I met you, it's very clear that one, you have a lot of grit to keep going through the hard times of owning a business, and the good times are awesome to get through. But when you're finding that niche, that's like you said, it takes some time to figure out what that is when you're first getting started. And so in 2008, that's when you knew life was going to change. But when did you know, like, when did the idea pop in that you were like, I want to be a personal trainer? Like, what happened? When did that happen for you? Do you remember the moment?
it was, so I went to Europe. I got back from Europe and I was like, okay, I need to do something now. That was like my fun, like after high school trip. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I had already done like a semester at community college, and I didn't really like it. Honestly, it wasn't just for me at the time. I'm always like open to pursuing college in the future. But at the time I was younger, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I knew I wanted to kind of help people. So what my story was, I had a job offer from one of my friend's moms who owns 10 businesses. And it was pretty much, he was like, hey, you can be a supervisor almost at this warehouse, and I just walk around and help people. And she's like, you'll work your way up fast, you'll make tons of money. Like, I think she was like saying I could make like $50 an hour. And I was young, and I was like, wow, this is great, you know. So I did it for a week, but at the same time, I wanted to get in health and wellness, and I had gotten a gym membership, and I was trying to live healthier. And I was like, wow, that would be great too. So I applied. I was applying at a couple gyms, and it was Bally's Total Fitness that I knew a trainer that I went to high school with. And I walked in there, and it was just, I went to go put an application in, And they're like, okay, great. So I worked at this warehouse for a week, and and the gym didn't call me or anything. So I was like, oh, well, I don't know if I should keep applying since I already have a job now or what. And then they call me back a week later after I worked at the warehouse for a week, and they're like, hey, we want to hop on an interview with you. We think you'd be a great fit. And they offered me a job when I went in, and they're like, look, it was like $7.75 an hour. So at that point it was like, am I going to go with all the money, or I'm going to go with what I feel like I should be doing in the future, like longevity wise, what's going to be better for me, what's going to make me happier, what's going to help other people. And walking around a warehouse kind of supervising people doing their job wasn't for me. So at that point, I I just like didn't go with the money, and I went more with my passion and what I could do in the future. And to me, it's just whatever choice I would have made, I'm sure it would have led down an awesome path. But I took this route, and I'm loving it now. It's not all about the money, but I'm making way more money than I would have been there, and I'm helping and impacting tons of people rather than walking around boring all day at a warehouse, watching people do their job and trying to help them out. So
Oh, wow. That's great.
that's how I got into it. And then I actually came in as a service rep. And as I started building relationships with all the people that would come in every day, because they always talk to the front counter, like there was people that would just come to the gym and just talk to the front counter people. Like I don't even think they worked out. So I would just sit there and talk, and all the trainers were like, bro, you should be a trainer. And that's kind of what my goal was too anyway, to get my foot in the door and then switch over. And then since I had people supporting me, then it was like 10 times easier. So
Yeah.
I got my first certification. Bally's Total Fitness ended up getting bought out by 24 Hour Fitness right when I was about to transfer over as a trainer. So obviously life's not easy. There's always obstacles. So they said I could transfer over to 24 Hour Fitness as the job description that I have. So I transferred over as a service rep, had to do my time over at a new place to like put in my work, even though I was certified and everything. Ended up getting another certification. So I had the NCSF and I had Nesta. And after that, I was like, okay, I have 2 certifications. I'm more qualified than half the trainers here. Like, when's my fitness manager going to give me a shot? And I mean, he didn't really like me too much just because I was put in there and he had no say. Like, no one at that club had say because they promised the people that went out of business, the Bally's,
Yeah.
they promised that job. They're like, you can go anywhere, we'll get you in automatically. So I wasn't like the first choice or whatever. So I just got put there, and I guess he didn't really like it. So we kind of butted heads a little. And then as a new club manager came in, and he saw my potential, and he made it happen, because I kind of got sick of being a service rep, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start applying other places. So I got a job offer. I told the fitness manager and I told the club manager, and the new club manager was like, his name's Chris Lucas. He was super cool guy. Still is. I have him. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I don't really talk. We don't talk too much, but he kind of came at me and he's like, bro, you're not leaving. Like, I'm going to get you a train. You're going to be a trainer right now. He's like, so he had my back all the way. And after that, I kind of went through that process. Worked as a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness for a while, and then it was just kind of super repetitive, and they didn't really care too much about the client, more of the gross revenue that you generate. And at that point, I was like, okay, let me do my own thing. I was still kind of broke, so I was like, I need something with no overhead, and in-home personal training was like the right choice. So
yeah. Now in regards to switching gears a little bit back to being the business owner, being in business, you said for 2 years now.
yeah, November actually. So next month it will be 2 years exactly. I'll be in business. My GoFit LLC, GoFit Colorado, as I call it, that's 2 years in business as of next month.
Nice. That's a big accomplishment. Hang on 2 seconds. I'm gonna cut this part out. I have my charger right here. I gotta plug my computer in. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get this in. See, at least I brought the charger. Like I really, because I came over to my parents' house, and so I like ran out the door. I'm like, I'm coming over to use your internet. I made sure to grab the charger. All right, sweet, rock and roll. So, all right, so switching gears a little bit. When you were growing to 2 years, how did you manage worry, doubt, and fear? What tactics did you use to push forward?
So, I mean, that's always worry, doubt, and fear. It's always gonna like cripple someone if they do. I always like focus honestly on like the more positive aspects. So how I kind of like manage that is I'm super conscious and aware of like my thoughts entering my mind. So the second I feel like my thoughts are going towards a negative direction, I almost am like I'm like a parent on parental control. Like I'm almost like monitoring my thoughts. So whenever I feel like if something negative is gonna pop into my head, I'll usually just like cut it right there. So that's like, and that's the only thing that it is fear, like worry, doubt, and is it fear? Yeah, those three things are all gonna just cripple you. So how you manage it, I feel like is just being aware of what you're thinking at all times, like, and don't live in like a low frequency vibration. Like if you see someone, like if I saw someone at the gym and they were clearly like 200 pounds overweight, I'm not going to sit there and judge them. I'm going to go up and try and help them instead. So it's being more of a positive person, because I know other people might judge them for it, but it's like, why? They're trying to work on themselves. So it's like, that's worry, doubt, and fear is going to live more into like a negative like frequency and a lower vibration. So as long as you're above that, then you're golden. And if negative thoughts do pop into your head, then it's like you're you just be aware of it. Like if something pops in my head negative right now, I'm gonna think the complete opposite pretty much, you know? If something tries to be like, oh, this person, like if I'm about to go, like I just signed State Farm, I just partnered with them and I'm on their app now. One of my offers for a senior workout program is on their app, and I honestly could have been like, oh well, what if it doesn't work out? There could have been a million what ifs, whys, like buts, but instead I was like so focused on like making it happen that I wasn't even worrying about worry, doubt, or fear. So, and I use my imagination for to like create rather than to worry about stuff, because worry is just a misuse of imagination. It goes to my boy Dr. Seuss, that quote. um so that's how I manage that.
Sweet. That's really good. Trying to have parental control over your thoughts. I really like that analogy, should I say. Um, and then when you're making decisions, when you're going about and maybe you have like some intuition, because in True North, the the idea is about sharing the message of how to find like where's your north at, right, to help you move up in life towards that higher
Mm.
frequency, the higher vibration, being able to attract more goodness into your life, and then having buffers to kind of help you understand, all right, am I going a little bit too far west, am I going too far east? We usually know when we're going down south, but being able to know when we're going south and east, or I'm sorry, east and west, that comes through intuition. And one of the biggest questions that comes up often when I'm talking to people is, how do you know the difference between intuition and indigestion, right? How do you know the difference between that when you're making decisions or meeting people, and things like that? How do you tell that when your intuition's telling you something instead of just an upset stomach?
um so I think for that question specific, it's everyone's gonna fail a million times. So like let's say I make a wrong decision, it's going to be a wrong decision. That's for my benefit because I'm going to learn from it. So how I use intuition is I kind of look at past experience as well, and I kind of collaborate intuition, past experience, what matches up. I use, like, if I met you and you had really good vibes and I was like, yeah, I'll be on your podcast, you're awesome, so
Yeah.
I had a feeling that you were a good person because you'd come off like that. So for me, intuition's like second nature almost. Like I have, when I'm around people, I can get a vibe from them if they're here trying to do something to benefit others, or if they're only in it for themselves, or if they're like like you can kind of see it kind of shines to the light like what they're really trying to go after here. So
Mm.
I think honestly for tuition wise, I just create past experiences. I kind of have those in my mind, and that comes into my decision. And then, I mean, I just take chances too. Yeah, having your own business is a huge risk. Like it's all a risk. Like when I quit 24 Hour Fitness, I had moved out to Aurora. I didn't have any other income. So I was like, I have to make this work. It's a risk. And if you put all your focus, dedication, time, energy, like energy goes where, or attention goes where energy flows, I think is the saying. So,
Energy
um,
flows where your attention goes, I think it's one of
yeah,
those two, right?
that's what I'm going for. Yeah. So I feel like intuition is like if you're always living in good vibes and stuff, then you're gonna run into other people like that, and you don't even have to question if it's a bad decision or not because you're like, oh, I ran into this person for a reason. But
Mm.
if there is something sketchy, then you kind of have to feel out the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Feeling out the situation and just knowing that there's a saying, people come into your life for a reason, a season, um, or like a lesson. There, I thought it rhymed. I can't think of the other rhyming word that goes with it, but there's
Yeah,
like different.
blessing. I thought blessing was in there for some reason, but
It
I
could
know
be,
it rhymes. Point.
you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
it's people come into your lives for different reasons and blessings and seasons and lessons and all of that. Just being able to know to know to recognize that and be parental control on every aspect of your life. And speaking of when you run into people, you're meeting a lot of people, you're growing your business, you're in a BNI group, you're working with all these seniors. How do you want the world to be different because you lived in it?
I'm trying to impact everyone. It to be in the sense of being different. I just want people to know what they're putting in their bodies, and I know you're ad or Arbonne advocate, so you're huge on that too because what you put on your skin is the same way. So what they put in their bodies and how they live their life. Like I don't want people living their life in pain, especially when they get older, because that's quality of life right there, and they could be living their like pain free their best life. So just taking away from what I do and like how I can kind of impact everyone is just being aware of what you're putting in your body and being aware of how active you are. That's kind of what I want to bring to the light with what I do.
Hmm. Hmm. And then what do you want your funeral to be like? What do you want people? This is really thought provoking and super personal, but I like to ask people because not everyone gets asked this question every day. But at your funeral, what do you want people to be saying about you?
So I just want the first three letters of funeral to be there and then nothing else. So I just want it to be fun. Um, I want people to be like, hey, he like really changed my life. He impacted it. I don't want it to be sad because I mean, everyone down to the root, everyone's energy and energy can't be destroyed. So like that, it's not that I'm gone, it's that I'm here in spirit. So I don't want people thinking like, oh, he's never here. Like I'll always be flown around the universe or whatever anyone believes in. I'll be there. So I just want it to be fun, and I want people to be like, oh, he impacted my life. He changed me for the better. He helped my family. He helped my mom, my dad, my grandpa, my grandma, whoever. I just want people to be changed and moved by what I do.
Awesome. Now, are your grandparents still with us?
I have one grandma. She's 94. She was actually in Colorado 2 weeks ago. So,
Mm.
um, she lives in the same house my mom grew up in. So she's there by herself. She's 94. When she was actually going to the airport in New York, and my uncle was going to pick her up, and she slipped and fell, and I think she cracked her collarbone. And when you're 94, that's tough, but she's a strong person and she wants to live by herself in the same house. So that's what she's going to do, even though all of her kids and my parents, my aunts, uncles, all of them want her to like come out to Colorado or move in with one of them. But I mean, she's doing it. She's driving around. She's she's living and she's doing what she does. So she goes to the mall every day and walks around, and I guess that's her main thing is she walks the mall, and that's where she gets all her exercise from. But she's doesn't need a cane, doesn't hobble, doesn't do anything. She's 94 and she's healthy. She says she's not on any prescription pills, which I think that might be a testament to like what like let your food be your medicine instead of just trying to get all hyped up on like, because I mean my parents are on pills obviously, and that how that maybe they can wean themselves off of it. I've had a lot of clients be on high blood pressure medication and they come off of it after 2-3 months of working out. So it's amazing what food and exercise can do for you.
Oh yeah, for your health, for your happiness, and everything that comes into play with all of that. It's incredible. I I couldn't agree more. Every time that I see somebody that changes their eating habits, no matter what program it's through, or heck, even if they just Google some healthy recipes and do some self-study, it's not that hard. It's not complicated, but it can be hard because of the commitment that's required and the cravings and emotional eating versus like regular eating, and like identifying the differences and just becoming educated on it. And I'm glad that people like you and I are, just trying to help the planet and help people live a better life before it's too late. And look at you, you're helping people, 55 and above, who it's not too late. And that's really the time to be, I think, really enjoying life, because they've worked so hard their whole lives, and now being able to enjoy that time in retirement. I mean, you're giving them such a big gift.
Oh yeah, and I think after because people live out their lives and they're working at 9 to 5 for like 30-40 years, and they kind of lose track of who they are almost, and they lose track of a sense of health and wellness, and they kind of get in the same routines. So a lot of the things I do is try and change habits, because habits are going to create your reality ultimately. So just changing little habits here and there, and it doesn't have to be like 0 to 100. I'm not going to be like, hey, you're drinking 16 ounces of water a day, why don't you drink a gallon tomorrow? Like it's like a slow process, and it takes a while, but you know what, just those little strides add up to a lot. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great, like, just meet people where they're at and then lead them to the next step, because everyone's at a different place in health and mind and body, spirit, all of that.
oh yeah,
Nothing's identical, right?
oh yeah. And by the way, I didn't even mention my business. It's called GoFit Colorado. You could find me at gofitcolorado.com. I should have said that in the beginning, but
No worries, dude. I'll actually be doing introduction segment to this at the beginning, which will be separate. It's like an introduction to the podcast, like with some music and stuff. So it'll have all of that on there. Your website, Instagram, and Facebook. Do you want like LinkedIn or anything on there?
yeah, you can add my LinkedIn. I'll for it,
Sweet.
or I think I might connect it with you. I'm not sure.
Okay.
If not, we will be connected.
We will be connected by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So a couple more questions. What are the top? Are you a reader? You like to read?
Yeah, I've got a few books out here. So I mean, you could go proceed with your question. I am a reader.
Cool. I think you probably know the question. I wanted to know, what are your top 3 books that you think that everybody should read?
Yeah. So okay, there's the first book I'm going to mention. I don't have it on me. I let someone borrow it. It's called Moonwalking with Einstein, and
Oh,
that book is all about. I don't. Have you heard of it?
sounds good though.
Yeah, it's all about memorizing. So it's essentially the writer is at first he's just he's a news reporter pretty much, and he's like doing a thing on like how people memorize all these things, because there's like world memorizing championships, and then he kind of gets really into it. So he ends up writing a book, and he I don't want to give away too much, but he enters the competition of memorizing. and it's like crazy all the things he writes down, everything he went through, what strategies he used, and it kind of tells you all about memorizing, because memorizing is a huge part of kind of, if you have a good mind and you memorize people's names all the time or whatnot, it makes a good first impression. So that, I think that's a huge book because just memorizing anything is going to be good for you. Another couple books I have here are, so a client just gave me this last week. It's called Take the Stairs.
No way.
Yeah. So
I just watched.
this book, I
Go ahead. Go ahead.
say
That's
what?
great.
Yeah, I just started reading it. He's actually getting mentored. It's like a kind of a life coach thing, and he's working with them for like the last couple of years. This kid's awesome. He's my client and my friend Hunter, and like he's on one. Like he's hitting on all levels. Like every piston's firing on in his brain, and he's like, "Look, bro, you got to read this book." So I just started reading it. I know you have a related to this book too. You're related.
Well, yeah,
You have something.
I'm a part of the Inner Circle with Lewis Howes, and he's a big podcast person and like super into helping people like optimize their brands and business. And I was like, right before this podcast, I was on a webinar with Rory and Lewis, and he was doing a 2-hour training on branding. I mean, that's so funny. And he was talking about that book, Taking the Stairs.
Yeah, so yeah, Rory Vaden, he's the one who wrote it, and that's awesome. You were just on a podcast with him. That's amazing.
I was on a webinar and I was not talking. I was totally a student listening. Yeah, so I didn't get to do that. Not yet, but it's cool how
You
that
will.
all, you know? So,
Oh yeah, you will. Ever since I started reading this last week, and I mean, I love it so far, and it's a great story. Rory kind of, the first kind of just like the intro to it so far that I've gotten is he was working at this big, I think it's like a big firm or something, and he kind of branched out and started his own mentoring business from it. So I haven't really gotten too deep into it, but that's what I gather so far. And he's great. He's super knowledgeable, and he's doing his own mentoring thing. So, and it's like life coach stuff. And actually, my client that gave me that book, his life coach told him to get a personal trainer. So, and then luckily he's connected with me through my other clients, so it was just an easy referral for him and me. Another book, so there's two of them. This is You Are a Badass, and then there's You Are a Badass at Making Money. So this is the first one, and then there's the second one, You Are a Badass at Making Money, and it's Jen Cicero. Follow her on Instagram; she's cool, and it's just all about how she came from. Pretty much, she was I think she was like living on the streets, was homeless, didn't have anything, and kind of used positive outlook on life and the law of attraction to get to where she is now. And obviously now she's like a writer. She's written, I think, the two books for sure. I don't know how many others. And she's literally just killing it. And go check out these books. So there's another one. And then I got a couple more. So RussellBronson.com Secrets is what I'm reading. I just got done reading this one, and it's so amazing if you want to build your brand. And it's about ClickFunnels, essentially, if you know what that is. That's huge. A guy from my business networking gave me this book, Kevin Tracy. So obviously all these books are like given to me, and I read them, and I'm like, wow, that was great, bro. Give them back. um Law of Attraction, I've had this book for like 10 years.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen The Secret on Netflix or Hulu or anything, but I think this book was based off that movie that they built, and it's all law of attraction, how you can kind of get your reality. And then this one, I love Kevin Hart. He's one of my faves, so I can't make this shit up by Kevin Hart is what I'm reading right now. So it kind of goes through his life and how where he is right now. So those are some of my favorite. Moonwalking with Einstein, I don't have it on me, but definitely the first one on my list to check out.
Nice. Those are great books, great authors. I've I've had those same books recommended to me to read. I have one time I had been so many people recommending for me to read books that I made a list, and I had a list of like 25 books. And one day I just decided to go gangster on Amazon and I ordered all of them. So I have this huge stack of books to read, and then I get more given to me. And so it's nice to have that knowledge out there, and what you do with that knowledge is what you're doing. You're applying that knowledge, and that's where the real rubber hits the road. Is you can read all day, but if you don't apply it, it doesn't mean anything, right? And then you got to just get out there and make it happen.
Yeah, and when you're on the right path, when people around you start giving you good books to read, that's how you're like, okay, I'm surrounded by the right people right now, because their only interest is to help me grow too with them. So if they read a book, they think it's amazing, and they give it to you to be like, hey, check this one out. That's how you're surrounded by great people.
Yeah.
Because reading this, I'm going to pass it along. Well, I'm going to give their book back probably by myself, and then give it to someone else and be like, hey, check this book out. So
Yeah, sweet. Well, is there anything else that you want to add? Any burning desires on your heart to share before we wrap up?
are you going to ask me the mentor thing?
Oh, yeah. My apologies. Top 3 influencers in your life. Yes. Who are they?
So at this point in time, my top 3 influencers are, I'd say, Russell Brunson, because I just read his book. I just ordered his other book, the sequel to .com Secrets. I believe it should be in the mail right now, actually. And I totally spaced the name of it. It's called something Expert. I'll get that to you. And then The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The movie star, obviously, he's my favorite actor, and I follow him on Instagram, and he's just so real. And he's even if he has the worst day ever, and Russell Brunson talks about this on his book, like, you have to still show your vulnerabilities. Like, no one's perfect. No one's gonna sit there and just breed excellence and perfection all day. Like, people have bad days and they have good days, and The Rock shows it on his Instagram page, and so do a lot of other people. Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously, Gary V is a huge. And then honestly, people that I surround myself with in life, and 2 of my biggest mentors right now are Bree Springer and Michael Griffin, and they're actually getting married, and they're Bree and Michael. They're in my business networking group. Well, Bree is, and then Michael owns half of Madison Company commercial real estate, and he owns a couple liquor stores. Like, this man's killing it, and I feel like every time I'm around him, and I train him, I take away more than he's actually paying. He's paying me to train him, but I'm actually learning all this good stuff from him, and I should be paying him, but don't tell him that. Also, one of my other clients, Jeff Adler, every time we work out, he just talks business, and he's the leader of the Matrix, and the Yardi Matrix. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's more in real estate and what the market's going to do. And he sells like this product, and he makes like millions of dollars for his company, and he's a huge part of how I am today. So
Cool. Sounds like you're a part of a pretty good networking group.
oh yeah, and it attests, because I met you too through networking, and I wouldn't have met you unless Cindy came to my networking group in the first place.
Oh yeah,
So my
nice.
clients who's also in my networking group. So that's kind of how it's all these wormholes, and then I met you. So
Yeah, and then here we are. Who knows after this, right?
oh yeah.
That's awesome. So getting involved in a group is definitely something that people should do, right? Because
Oh
you're surrounded by, it's like a mastermind group.
yeah, surround yourself with other people that are on the same goal as you, even if they're not specific goals. If, like, I surround myself with other business owners, that's what I do, because they're all going through the same stuff I've been through, or I'm going through soon. So they know how to mentor you, and you know how to mentor other people that are newer to it. And it's just like everyone's helping everyone's rooting each other on, and it's all about encouragement and positive vibes. So
Cool. Sweet. Well, I really can't thank you enough for taking time out of your afternoon just to share who you are on this podcast and on YouTube, and being able to encourage others. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are very passionate about fitness, and your success to them and really a pillar in the fitness community and how successful it can be. And you've worked so hard, you know, based on the conversation we had when we had our first one-on-one. And I'm honored to know you, and I hope that we can have you back on the show again here in the next few months or so and see where you're at and what other things you're doing. So it has definitely it's been awesome. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, Alex. You're amazing. I appreciate you too.